Still with me in studio is Raylan Dunbar, financial advisor at FinLogic, Robin Farrell, managing director of First for Women Insurance, and Iona Minton, financial educator at Money Toolkit. Now, before we continue with our discussion, let's take a quick look at another viewer's question we received. It comes from Terry Ann in Pretoria, and she asks, I'm a single mother. What type of insurance do I need to ensure my child is taken care of if I die? Raylan, I think I'm going to ask you a quick question. I know there's a lot of discussion that we want to have on marriages and divorces, but just quickly, your advice to Terry Ann.
First of all, she needs life insurance benefits. Those benefits will help to replace income for their child. Obviously, she needs to have a will in place as well, with a guardian that's actually set up in the will, so that would be the person that would take over her child and actually look after them. Possibly disability benefits and dread disease benefits as well, and income replacement benefits. Reason being is because if she's the sole breadwinner in that family, she's in a position that if she cannot earn an income, that is obviously going to negatively impact on her child and her child's education as well. So those would be the important things to look at.
Fantastic, thank you so much. Iona, I'm gonna let you go from where you wanted to before we took the break, and I think it was really around divorce, was that right?
Yeah, I think, well, or marriage. You know, when you get married, that contract is extremely important. In the past, when a couple got married in community of property, the female was considered a minor, and she actually had no contractual ability whatsoever. Fortunately, that law has been changed, so she doesn't actually have to have a co-signatory on something when she contracts a debt. Where the COP is a disadvantage is that it's love me, love my debt. So if she doesn't pay, then the banks can go after the joint estate. That's where it comes into play. And also very important, when I speak to young women getting married and they say, oh, I'm going to get an ANC with accrual, they often agree to a smaller percentage of the accrued amount if they are not earning as much as their spouse, because they say, oh, that seems fair. So they might say, okay, I'll get 25% of the accrued assets and the big easy armchair. And they go on in life, and then she starts to earn far more money than him and builds a lot of assets. But in the divorce agreement, or in the ANC, she's agreed to only take 25% of the accrued assets. So it should always be 50-50 regardless of income in a new relationship, because you never know who's going to be the bigger income earner. Very
and
important.
Who's going to get what? Yeah, absolutely.
With an accrual system though as well, you're also in a position that you effectively can set up a starting value as well. So what really needs to be done is that if either party has assets up front, which they don't want to split in the event of a divorce, that needs to be put into the contract.
Sure.
There are so many times that I see actual ANC with accrual contracts set up where assets were in existence before the time of actually getting married, and they are not put into the actual contract. Now that becomes null and void. Effectively, whatever it is that you thought you were going to be leaving out of the whole before marriage kind of scenario, you're still in a position when that's forming part of the divorce agreement.
Doesn't that go into inheritances as well?
Definitely.
And then they exclude that, and
Correct.
rather than leaving that
yeah,
in. So
yeah.
it's
Many times you will have parts of the estate that have been excluded. Robin, I mean, from your point of view, in community of property, we spoke about it now. Is there co-signatories that needed for
no,
people
I think Iona's right. I don't think that's the case. I think women must be mindful about being browbeaten. So they must say, no, I'm not going to take on the debt, it's your responsibility. So absolutely, stand your ground. I think responsibility is really what we need, and a sense of courage almost to go and look at your financial affairs, because it's mind-boggling. I mean, we were talking earlier on, the array of products available, and it's huge. I think probably simple is probably better rather than the hugely complicated ones. Yeah, and get some advice on them.
Get some advice, actually get out there, start doing something. Divorce, a reality, we've spoken about it. I think that's all the more reason for women to take control and get involved, if nothing else. I think the other thing, I mean, a couple of things that I've picked up that almost stand in the way of financial serenity, so to speak, for women, is that, firstly, I mean, from a career perspective, generally it's seen that they're probably going to earn less, okay, with the same qualifications, same experience, same expertise. This is what the corporates have actually shown to be true. You potentially have shorter career spans with having children, etc., etc. And then the real thing is that you're probably going to live longer. So, I mean, there's a lot standing in the way of actually having that done. So the importance, perhaps, is even more important for women than men to get this thing right.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you need the end result, a bad end result is just the worst. I mean, you can imagine the worst thing, sitting in your little bed, little sort of one-room flat, driving your collapsed polo. That's not what you want. That's not what we worked so hard to get.
Sure.
So you actually need to look after yourself and after your children at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I know general tips for women listening right now. What would you say to them?
You know, one of the sagest pieces of advice I can offer a woman is to live like you are single, and there are no Prince Charmings out there waiting to rescue you with a gold credit card and build you a mansion on the hill. And if you do happen to meet your Prince Charming, it's a bonus.
Sure.
So yeah, just live like you're going to be single. And I'm not saying be completely mean and Scrooge-like, but provide your own financial security. Do not rely on anyone else. And as I say, if there's someone that comes along for the ride, it's a bonus. So you'll have a great retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. Closing thoughts from your side, Robin?
It's interesting in our space. We have half and up our women are married and half of them are single or with partners. So regardless of your status, absolutely. Just look after yourself and make sure you're going to be okay in the end.
Brandon, as a closing shot, I mean, to my mind, I've said what I think is perhaps standing against women in getting this right. I think what stands in favour is that women, in my opinion, when it comes to financial planning, are a lot more disciplined and potentially even a lot more open to advice. Your final thoughts really there?
Yes, as we were joking around about earlier, I mean, women will generally stop and get directions, whereas a man generally won't. So the fact that a woman is prepared to take on financial advice, because they're not necessarily known as the forerunners when it comes to getting financial advice and setting up financial products and services, etc. So you'll very often find that they're ready to learn and learn a bit more, and they are much more disciplined. If they're in a position where they're contributing a certain amount towards their retirement plans or to a child's education plan, etc., you'll find that they definitely carry on with it continuously. They don't try and stop it along the way because they know what the actual benefit is for.
Absolutely. I think the key is really sort of get out there, take control and get involved where possible, find the right education, knowledge and perhaps even wisdom wherever you can find it. Ioana, Robin, Raylan, thank you so much tonight. I've certainly learnt a thing or two, and I'm sure the viewers are the same there. Before we go, it's time for a quick look at our weekly viewers' tips. This week, of course, our tips relate to financial planning for women.
The role of women has changed substantially over the last century, and a new set of challenges and needs have been created. Women are usually so busy looking after everyone else that they often forget to look after themselves. But times are changing, and women are realizing the importance of taking responsibility for their own financial futures. If you are financially dependent on someone, make sure that they have adequate insurance for which you are the beneficiary, to replace the income which you and possibly your children depend on. If you have a joint bank account, set up a separate savings account or plan as an emergency fund. Take time to learn and understand how your household finances work, so that in the event of a death or even a divorce, executors, trustees, or your ex can't take advantage of you. When it comes to retirement planning, make sure you have your own plan in place. This will grant you financial independence in your golden years if you need it. With the increasing rates of divorce, women often are the ones who get the short end of the stick. Law has recently changed around retirement plans and divorce. You can now claim your share at divorce, but you will be liable for the tax on this portion. Medical aid cover is always an important part of taking care of yourself financially. Whether you are a career woman or a home executive, you need to make sure that you have life, disability or impairment and severe illness cover in place. By calculating a rand value for your household contribution, you will realize that if you are not able to do what you do, your family could suffer significantly. Insurance companies have recognized that women need specialized cover. Female benefits provide additional cover to women who suffer from female cancers, such as breast cancer, uterine and cervical cancer, as well as complications of osteoporosis. Some insurance companies also offer benefits to women for complications during pregnancy. This type of cover also includes payments for multiple births, birth defects, and congenital diseases. HIV contracted through a rape is a woman's worst nightmare, and it is no consolation, but you could cover yourself financially to help alleviate the trauma and financial implications of long-term treatment. FinLogic has a number of women financial advisors who will understand your needs as a woman. So contact us to get the right advice. Remember, honor yourself and treat yourself with respect. You will set the stage for others to treat you with the respect that you deserve.
Well, on that note, we end this edition of Financially Speaking. Now, tax season is around the corner, so during our next show, we'll be taking you through what you need to know to prepare for your filing season.